What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? Let me know if you can hear me in the chat, please. All right, so this is a course that has been heavily demanded, and we're doing our best to make this a simplified, templated process so that you don't have to recreate the neck labels for every single size. You can pretty much use the smart object feature to change everything but the sizes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, y'all can hear. Good deal, good deal. Okay, so I'm going to make this one quick because I'm also going to show you how to upload these and a company that I recommend for getting the neck labels done. Now you can print these out as DTF if you have a DTF printer. And then you can also use these as screen prints, but specific screen printers have to use a very fine mesh in order to create these labels. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit here so we can see all of what we're going to be working with. We're going to start up top with the small, medium, large, and extra large because that is going to be your primary sizes there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and right click where it says neck label. And you'll notice that it's a smart object. So we're just going to double click to open it up. And then what I need you all to come with is basically come with a label from a shirt. It could be any shirt because I want you to practice changing these out. So I'm going to give y'all a little technical background too. So this video might not be as short as I want it to be just because I have to give y'all some input on basically there are laws. There are federal laws that mandate that you have to have the country of origin where the shirt was from, and then also the exact makeup of the shirt, so the materials that make up the shirt. And the reason why this is important is because number one, there's a federal law, and number two is because there may be people that are allergic to certain materials. Maybe spandex people have allergies to. So you want to make sure that you have the full label that came off the garment, because typically we're doing the tearaway labels, right? So I want you to take your label from something, and I'm actually using a neck pillow right now that says that it is 95% polyester and 5% spandex. So what I would do right here, actually, you know what? I'm going to pretend like this is cotton because I already have this saved as a polyester. So I'm going to go and change this to 100%. I leave the word premium because you can put a word like that in there. And I'm going to put soft cotton. And the reason why is because as long as it says what it is, which is cotton, you're going to be fine. If you have extra descriptive words in here that just say premium and soft, that's not going to get you in trouble. It may even make people feel that this is a superior shirt and not one of those crunchy, hard shirts that they just loathe getting in the mail. So you want to give them a great expectation before they even get the product. All right, so I just changed that to 100% premium soft cotton. The other thing is you have to check the label and see where it was manufactured. Now, although you are making the shirt in the USA, I still wanted to put, some proud United States text in there. So I said it's printed with love in the USA. However, you have to put where the product came from, where it was made. The shirt was not made in the USA. The shirt was probably made somewhere else. So in this case, it might be shirt made in China. So I'll take out the words here. Well, made in China. Okay. And then I'll still keep printed with love in the USA because I think that's important. Now the directions at the bottom are pretty general. You can look at your directions on the tag, and let's see, for instance, this one says machine wash, similar colors. warm water. So in this one, you might say machine wash, warm with light colors, but I'm going to keep cold because cold is always best. If you have to give them the best instructions so that they don't mess up their garment, or maybe these instructions are harsher because now the garment has decoration. So without decoration, maybe it can use warm water, but with the decoration, you want them to use cold water. So make sure that you're clear on what these instructions should be. Tumble dry low, warm iron if necessary, and maybe you even want to put do not iron the graphics. You know, sometimes we have to see that in order to make sure that people understand that they don't iron the graphics after the fact. All right, so I think that this is it for me. We could go ahead and change out the logo here. And you have a space for the word mark and also for a logo. I want you to kind of keep the space to the left empty because that's where the letter will be for the size. And there are going to be several templates that we make for neck labels in the near future. This is probably just going to be your basic go-to. I can screen print this and go. So let's see. What you want to do for the logos, double click here. Now I have two pieces. I have my word mark and I have the logo. You don't have to have both. You just need a logo. Now, this is where it was important. Remember when we did the Brand on Demand Challenge and we talked about logos and why it's important that your logo can be a single color logo? Well, some of you found out that you don't really have a single color logo. And that's fine because we're going to go ahead and find a little something right here just to show you what you want to see. So logo, something like this, something that you see in black and white. Now the Warner Brother logo, we typically see it in this gold. It looks 3D, but they have a black and white representation of it for a reason. So every logo needs to have a flat presentation. Otherwise, you won't be able to do very simple screen prints and single color, simplified images that denote your brand. Okay, so at the very, very least, if you don't have a symbol, right? If we don't have a symbol to put in there, and it has to have no background, it has to be completely a flat color. And the way we're going to get it flat is I'll show you here. So let's say you don't have that, and I just need to basically just type text here. So I can just type Innate Lab, and that could be what I'm using for right now. Of course, you can't see that, so let's make it larger. Now, we are not going to spend time on this because hopefully you have a logo that is flat. Okay. But what I'm going to do is take everything here, group it, and I'm going to do a solid color right above it that crops to it. Okay, the reason why I'm doing that is because your logo might be purple, pink, it might have a background on it, but as long as this is active, it will let you know that everything is the same color, and it'll let you know if you have maybe some white that you need to remove. So we'll pay attention to that. Now I'll go and I'll make sure that I show you a demonstration of, let's say for instance, this is, let's say that's your logo. Okay. Now, of course, here it has a white background, so I'm just going to download it. You want to make sure that you have a nice high resolution image because you are dealing with Photoshop, and this is going to be a 300 DPI file. And then, as always, you can use your Remove BG. And let's see if I get my little credits. Okay, let's drag and drop it here. You notice it took out the background. I could download the HD version, excuse me, y'all, because I want the high resolution version of it. I don't want to get a grainy version because that would definitely affect my overall print quality. Okay, I'm just going to name that C logo. And then as we're doing this here, instead of the text now, I can close that out. I'm going to go ahead and put the other image back just so I know where this is going to go. Go to my browser. And because it has a clean background here, I'm holding down Shift to stretch that out. I'm still going to weigh it over to the right side. Okay, and then I can turn these off, and if you want to keep the word mark on there, I'll add it down here to the bottom. I'm just going to put Chickadee. All right, so this is our Chickadee brand. And we'll just go ahead and reduce that size just a little bit more. Because when you have sizes like your 2X and 4X, they're going to take up a little more space. There we go. All right, so that's going to fit in there. Make sure nothing is hanging off the space. If it's hanging off, it will be abruptly cut off. Okay. All right, so we're now ready to save this. We can go File, Save, and it's going to save our smart object. It will update here, and of course the size is missing here, but that's okay. I'm going to close out, say yes to save. And then everywhere that I had the label before has updated. The only difference now is the sizing. So I couldn't really make it to where the sizing would be different for you. However, I think this will be super simple for you to change the sizing if you want to. The other thing that I do is I do some extra stuff. I'm not going to expect you to do that. Like I might put a circle and fill it in with black, and then my size might actually be white, so I'll take these and make them white so that it kind of stands off. But then I have to remove the inside and basically treat it as a one color image, and that's a little more advanced. So I'm just going to take a few steps back and let you know that you can do stuff like that. I like to take my logo for the size and put it inside of my logo for the graphic. But we're going to keep it really, really simple because I want this to be something that you can just go to and plug and play. All right, so let's go ahead and go back here. And there we go. And I think what I'm going to do is just bring this logo up a little bit more for the neck label so I don't have to worry about it not lining up with my size there. I'm just taking up a little more real estate. There we go. Okay, that's better. All right, so then I don't have to move my sizes at all. The sizes where they are is good to go. That extra large is pushing just a little bit, so maybe that extra large, I squish it just a smidge, just so it's not overlapping the bottom there. And then I have the same thing going on here for my 2X, 3X, and 4X. Depending on where your logo is or how you do this, you may have to adjust your sizes here. So for this one, I'm just going to squish the 4X a little bit until it's no longer interfering with my logo. And this just makes it safer for printing. Now there are some guidelines when it comes to screen printing. There's something called negative and positive space. So, uh-oh, I hit something weird there. There we go. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. So for the negative space, it's supposed to be 2 pixels wide between anything that has, here would be the white space, and between anything that's the black to black should be 1 pixel. You shouldn't really have to worry about that too much with the screen printed process that we're doing, because it is a very high quality screen print process. It uses a mesh of 200 so it can get those details. But if you want to be very specific, you can definitely get into how much space is between. Okay, and the way you do that is you just make yourself a square here. Y'all aren't going to have to do this, but I'm just giving you hints for if you have to make sure your graphic is screen printable. And when I hit just one time, it'll give me an option to make it a certain width. I'm going to make it 1 pixel. And then the height, maybe I'll make it like 20 pixels, just so I can see it. Okay, I'm going to hit OK. You see how tiny that is? Like literally, I can't even see it. So what you would do is you would make sure, and as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to make this longer so I can at least see it. We're going to make sure it's not on the ratio lock. Let's just say I'm going to make this 1 inch long. You see now it's at least longer. So this is how much needs to have space between the black to black. So you see how much or how little space that is? However, we could get in here and say that any little space, see that little space between the top of the E and that M is barely 1, but that really needs to be 2, because this is how thick the printed area needs to be, is 1 pixel. It really needs to be 2 pixels in the empty white space. So because it's a neck label and it's not that big of a deal as far as getting the exact details, you still want to be aware of it, but it should be a little more space between the text just to be safe. Okay, so I'm going to erase this so that you all don't end up having that in your print and then you're trying to figure out why you have a random line in your print. But that's just an idea of how you go about checking that out. All right, so now that we have our logo and our sizes, the goal here, and I'm just giving you game, when you go print these, you probably want to do majority of your small, medium, large, and extra large. So I'm just going to Alt, click, and drag this top folder down. Alt, click, and drag it again. And I'm just stopping at the blue lines there because this is giving me plenty of space to cut out. If you don't give yourself space to cut out, you may end up trying to save space and squish, because I probably could get a whole nother row in here. However, if I did that, I'm probably going to risk cutting off some of my text and ruining some of my labels anyhow. Okay, so in this case, I would go with small, medium, large for the majority. And the reason why I have 2X's here is because 2X is a lot more common than a 3 or 4X. But let's say you don't even offer 4X, then I would go all 2X's and maybe 1 3X. And basically that would be your size assortment. So every time they printed this, you would get majority of your standard sizes and a row of your 2X's, 3X's, and 4X's. E, that's your favorite word, chickadee? Well, maybe that's why it popped up in my head. All right, so so now this is pretty much it. However, this is not how you're going to send it to the printer. Okay, this is technically the best way to do this is in Illustrator, because Illustrator is going to give you vector graphics. However, this screen printer will accept it as long as it's a high resolution file. This is 300 dpi, and this is a 12 by 18 sheet. So this is what they call a gang sheet. Okay, this is several images on one sheet. I'm going to turn off the background. Matter of fact, let me turn off background for print. And I'm going to put the number for print, because sometimes you have very little space where you can see the text over here. Okay, so then this would be ready to go. I'll turn off the background before I print. Everything else looks good. Delete that layer that we don't need. And we are ready to go File, you can save a copy and you can save it as a PNG. And the reason why I tell you to do that, if you save it as a Photoshop file or even an Adobe PDF, if those fonts are still considered editable, when the screen printer gets your project, those fonts are going to look crazy. Okay, so this one, I'm going to call this 100% cotton. And then I'm going to put the word print after it because I know that's my printable version. Okay, so there we go. All right. Now, that was the hard part. It's not normally the hard part. The hard part is usually designing each of these and then having to make sure the sizes and everything go with them. If you've ever designed like on Canva, and when you edit one, you have to then go duplicate it and edit another. So this is going to change all together because it's a smart object. All right, now what we're going to do is get ready to send this to the printer. And I have a special link for y'all that just happens to give me just a little bit of pocket change of an affiliate link, just being transparent. That's my link there. And then what we're going to do is we'll take the PNG version and we'll go ahead and click on that link, open it up on the screen here. And you can sign up for your account and go ahead and get your 10% off of your first setup. So I'm going to be talking a lot more about Plastisol Transfers, y'all, because I realize this is a way that a lot of you can really add value to your product offerings. And also you can get into doing some third-party shipping for other people who may not know that you can help them brand. Okay, so let's go ahead and come over here to the transfers. We're going to go to the Premium Plus. And then we're just going to select here. We can do the gain sheet. They also have an option to do the neck tag labels, but I just do the gain sheet. Okay. So it's giving you some pointers here for artwork and what's really important. So definitely pay attention to these details. I think I've told you most of what you need for this particular project. We just need to make sure it's 300 dpi, which it is, or ppi, pixels per inch, dots per inch, and that we've got good, clean, high quality images. If you had a little janky logo and you put that little janky logo in there, it's going to print real janky, okay? So let's go ahead and start the order. We're going to go with the Premium Plus. It'll be one color. And the color that I like to select is, I know it says cool gray and dark gray, but the cool gray looks darker than the dark gray. I use the dark gray because dark gray will show up on white, it will show up on black, it will still contrast on black, and then almost any other color you decide to use, it'll show up on. And it also doesn't show through the back of the shirt. Let's say you're printing on a white t-shirt, that dark gray doesn't show up so much as a black would on a white shirt. So you don't want to be able to see the label through the back of the shirt either. All right, and if you choose gang sheet here, they will print it as one big sheet, however many pieces you want, and then you will have to cut it up. If you choose a tagless label feature, then they will cut it for you, and notice that the cost has a minimum of 48 pieces. So this one, let's say we put 48 pieces in. Let's see the difference. So here's 48 pieces. It ends up being $262 per product. If you want them to cut it, it ends up being $362 per page, right? So if you want to save a little bit, you can gang sheet it. You left plenty of space in between, so you can definitely cut them out yourself. And then let's go ahead and put, let's say we're going to go with 48. Now what we could do is we could check the pricing here, see what's going to give us the best pricing tier, and there is basically a max out of getting 144 of these printed. It'd be $1.50 per sheet per 12 by 18. But let's take a look at how many labels we get. We're going to get 4 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get 20 labels out of this. So if you can imagine, for, let's say even if we go up here, and let's go and say that it's $3 per print, because let's say we're going to add in some shipping costs there, right? So $3 per print, we end up with 48 prints. So let's give it an even 50. Let's do a little math here. So 50 prints times $3 per print ends up being $150, and then we would divide that by let's see, we said 50 prints, right? 20, so that'll be 20 prints to 50 pages. That'll be what? 1,000. Hold on, let me do my math here. 50 times 20. What did I just do? 50 times 20, Shannon. There we go. Yep, 1,000. I doubted my own math, y'all, when I'm being creative. My math brain doesn't work and my spelling brain doesn't work. Y'all forgive me. Okay, so 1,000 labels, and then we said that was $150. So 150 divided by 1,000. That's about 15 cents per label. And I would say, you know, go ahead and round it up to 20 cents per label, because you may mess some up. You may miss and cut some. You may use more mediums and larges and need more prints, because maybe you don't use smalls and 2X's as much. So just keep in mind that this is a average number here of about 15 cents per label. So for 15 cents per label, you can charge your customer. I charge my customers $2 more to relabel. And that's because I have to tear the tag out. I have to have to keep up and maintain their particular brand tag. And I have to make sure that I have the right information on it. So for instance, when I'm doing a sublimation shirt, it has a different label. It will say 100% premium polyester, and as opposed to the cotton, right? And then I want y'all to know that some of your heather garments do not have the same. It might be the same exact brand, but if you check anything that's heather, it's going to have a polyester and cotton blend. That's how they get the heather effect. So just imagine that you have to have all these variations of labels. Let's say the sweatshirt comes from China, but the t-shirt comes from Ecuador. You have to have a label that says China, and you have to have a label that says Ecuador. So you can get very, very complicated in the variations that you have to keep for a specific brand. So keep that in mind when you're choosing your substrates too. If you can keep all your substrates coming from the same manufacturer, and they all happen to come from Ecuador, they all happen to be 100% cotton, great. But if you have differences there, then you must, by federal law, denote that in your tags, okay? So that's where tagging can be a little bit of a pain, but I'm sure you all can understand why that's important. All right, so let's go ahead and upload the artwork here. We're going to go with the PNG right there. And it's going to give us a preview on this 12 by 18. We have plenty of space around here, plenty of space between the labels. You do not want to mirror image this. If you mirror image it, they will mirror image it, and you will be looking crazy. You can also choose the preview down here, which is going to probably mock it up on a t-shirt, which is not really important, but it should show this as gray, but it's not. So if it were gray, then I could basically just test it and make sure it's going to show. And if you want to preview it in the gray color, then you would make it gray. However, I make it black because I want them to have the highest level of contrast, so that when they're burning this screen, you get all my details, especially being that this is not vector work that we're sending them. This is just high resolution bitmap, okay? So let's say I'm going to go ahead and do my little 50 prints there. I'm going to do print as is. If you require resizing, you can go ahead and hit artwork services, but you all are graphic gurus, you know what to do. So you should be able to print as is. If not, then go ahead and check that off. Most of the time, they will hit you back and say, you know, if something's poor quality, they say that they won't. Because this is your warning. When you tell somebody to print as is, they do not have to tell you anything. But this company is really good about letting you know, hey, you know, we think this might be a poor quality print. You tell us, you know, we're going to they screenshot it and show you how grainy it's going to look and say, if you say it's okay, we'll go ahead. But if not, then we'll require a fee to clean up your artwork. And this would be something that you would want to have cleaned up if it's representing a brand, your brand or someone else's. All right, so for the job title reference here, I usually just put the name of it. So I might put Chickadee neck labels. And then this is going to be your reference in the future because you could just click on this and reorder it again. Okay, so boom, that goes in the cart. And that's it. That's simple. Okay. And while we're here, I'm going to show you that this active sport here, if you have your single color logo, like you just did your Chickadee logo, if you come here to a one color design, I tell people to stick with white because you can put it on any color t-shirt, single image that thing, and let it be a 9 by 12.75. You get those transfers for 15 cents a piece. And of course, there's a setup fee. However, let's say we're ordering 100 of these. You see, it's only $40. So if I were going to brand my own shirts, that's 40 cents per transfer, right? For a single color image. I could afford to get 100 of these and maybe only make 20 right now and hold on to the other 80 until I needed more shirts, or maybe I'm just testing my product and I only made 2 of every size right now, but I want to start getting orders out there, so then that way I can take the remaining of my prints and press on demand, right? So we're going to talk about that too, and that's why this type of program is really important, because you can stand to make a great profit off of $40 worth of prints, and you're talking about maybe a $3 to $4 t-shirt. You're talking about less than $5 to make a shirt that you can easily sell for minimum $10, okay? And that's if you're doing like a family reunion, or maybe it's a church or a small business and you want to offer them single color one-sided prints. Tell them those are your $10 shirts, and immediately you're pressing these things for 7 seconds, 7 whole seconds. That's it. Okay, so you can get a lot of production out of this type of setup, and this could easily add to your sublimation business. This could add to your custom business. This could even help you scale business to business, because this is what most businesses are looking for. They're not looking for the custom one-off type of shirts. They're looking for uniforms or bulk production. Okay, and this is very easy to do, bulk production. Let's take it to 400. Look at that, under $100 for 400 of these prints. I'll put 500. So right at 500 prints is $100. So you don't think I can make off of 500 prints well over $100? Come on, y'all. This is one of those things that if you don't know, now you know, and you can't unlearn it. So I definitely want you all to be using this in your business model, okay? These are called Plastisol Transfers. It's the same thing as screen print. They're just going to put the screen print on a transfer paper instead of screen printing directly to the shirt. And then you can store those screen prints. We say for up to a year, but I've had some screen prints longer than that. Just don't judge me for it, but I have tested them out like over 2 years, and I still get great results, great washability, depending on the quality of the original product. Okay, so that is pretty much it. Once you get these back from the screen printer, you'll just trim them and keep them organized by size. And you can use a hat press, right? You can use a hat press. That's probably going to be the easiest way to do a neck tag label, but you can also use a mouse pad and cut it out a little bit bigger, like cut out a piece a little bit bigger than where this label would go. And then you set the mouse pad to raise up the part of the neck label that's going to be pressed. And you can easily do this on your regular press, whether it be a 15 by 15, 16 by 20, what have you. And what you'll do is you'll let that neoprene raise the surface enough to give you good contact for this label. And it is hot peel. So you do not have to sit there and wait for it unless you're doing DTF and you have to do cold peel. It's hot peel, so like immediately when you're done, you just peel it right off. Do all of your shirt sizes first, and then go put your image on each shirt. And now you have a whole business model for branding a whole line of products. Okay. So that's it. It's a little longer than my typical 15-minute ones that I've been doing lately. However, I wanted to get into a little bit of why we do these, why it's important to remember certain things about your custom labeling, and then also where you could go to order the custom labels. Now, of course, you can do this DTF as well. We'll have some tests of this being done for DTF too, so you can kind of see both the DTF strategy and the screen printed version. All right. So I'll go ahead and get this one uploaded for tonight's class. All you have to do to come to class tonight is have a label that you can look at. It could be the shirt that you're wearing right now. It could be a blank shirt that you just have laying around the house so that you get the idea of how you're going to change this label. What requirements are there going to be on this label? And then you're going to need a single color logo. That means no background. Nothing there except for the logo itself, and it does not have to be black because this will make the logo black. Let's say, for instance, if I turn this off and let's say you just happen to have a purple logo, and I will make this a purple logo. Okay. When we screen print, you're paying per color, right? So we definitely don't want to spend extra money on a neck tag. So we want it to all be solid color. So what happens is when this color is activated above it, it will make everything black that is inside of this folder. So even if your logo is colored, it'll make it all monochromatic, okay? All right, so I'll keep that text in there in case anybody wants the Chickadee clothing line. And of course, you can bring your own logo in there. I'm going to delete this one, but you'll have the text in there. And of course, you'll also be able to bring your own logo in there. So make sure you bring the logo in. That's going to be transparent. As you can see, the inside of the brain part normally has color in there, but it's all removed because I wanted to make this an inexpensive, flat, one color design. If your logo cannot be a flat one color design, then we need to work on that logo, okay? But let's go ahead and go back, save these changes, and see how everything updates there. You are now good to go. And then I like to turn on the white just so I can see better. But obviously make sure you turn that white off when you get ready to save it as a PNG. So that's all, folks. I will see y'all later on. Coach Chrissy is going to do an amazing job with this course. And I think she has some surprises for y'all too. I don't know. I think she's cooking something up. So hopefully she gets a chance to share that with y'all tonight. If not, then it'll be in store real soon. All right, y'all. I appreciate you. I love you dearly. And until next time, bye.